I'm going to teach something about GPT-OSS, which was recently released by OpenAI. The part that I'm going to show about here is the RMS norm, or the root mean squared normalization. And I went through it in detail, and see, I did it in Claude, like ChatGPT kind of. And here is what I showed. And it confirmed that it was correct. It says, right, your formula starts with scales already included, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's the complex detail form of it. So I'll go through the code and show some stuff about it. So first, this is importing the module class, and this is initializing the variables, and this super is the super dot in it is initializing the stuff inside this module class or whatever. And number of features is telling how many x's are in there. Like in this example, there are 3 values of x. So here is the epsilon, which it's a thing for stabilization. This is approximately, if you look right here, it's a float and it's equal to 1e negative 0.5, which is right here. It's 0.00001. And the next line is the scale. So this is a scaling factor. And this is torch.ones, which fills an array with ones. And passing the number of features. And this is the device saying if it's CPU or GPU. And it checks it up here. This thing keeps popping up for some reason. Anyway, it checks it up here, and it assigns the device to whatever the device is up here. This is telling us the data type of torch.float32-bit, and down here is the forward method, and it takes in the x value as a torch tensor, and it asserts, which means that if this value results in false, then I think it'll stop the program. So this right here evaluates to true or false because it's see, it has 2 equal signs, so it's a Boolean. Then this is the float of x and the data type, as you can see. And down here is where a lot of the calculations are happening. So this is the epsilon, as you can see, that 0.0 whatever. Hold on, sorry. Yep. So it calculates the reciprocal square root. In other words, 1 over the square root of the mean of the squares of each of the values. And like each of the values in this example, like that's 2, 4, and 5. So 2 squared, it would calculate, then 4 squared, and then 5 squared. So 2 squared is 4. Where is it on here? Yeah, 2 squared is 4, 4 squared is 16, and 5 squared is 25. And there's plus epsilon. So when you add those together, it's 45. And then it divides it by 3. I think that should be over there. Anyway, divided by 3. And so that's the reciprocal 1 over square root of that. So that's what the r square root means, or is talking about right here. So it's taking the mean of these values, which is however many things they are, it goes on the bottom of the fraction, and you add up all of the things and put it on the top of the fraction. So that gives you the mean. And so that calculates all of that. And this -1 inside dimensions means it auto fills the dimension thing. And keep dims equals true. That's like if it was going to collapse from a just say a 2D tensor to a 1D scalar. If you put keep dims as true, then it'll just keep it as a 2D tensor. And you multiply the x values by this, and then you multiply it by the scale. So the scale is right here, 0.5. That's what it multiplies it by. And if you see right here, it's multiplying each of the values by that result. So, and that's the the data type, and so that is the root mean squared normalization, and that's what it's doing. And this is the actual code that GPT-OSS uses, the PyTorch code. As you can see up here, it's available on GitHub. It's I think it's MIT license. You might look and verify, but and uh, this, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have any questions, let me know. And have a good one. Bye.